The NFL schedule makers have blessed us with another crucial division game on Thursday Night Football. For Week 5, we're looking at the Bucs at the Falcons, who are both coming off impressive wins.
Thursday Night Football.
Welcome back, or welcome to America's Sports. That's right, look at us stepping up our game with our own t-shirt. Believe it or not, we are actually in October football. October can and usually does bring out some of the best weather for football season. The 3-1 Tampa Bay Buccaneers travel down to Atlanta in their second road game of the year. Meanwhile, the 2-2 Falcons get to host their fourth home game of the season already in Week 5. Atlanta is favored by 1.5 points, with the over-under sitting at 43.5. Didn't get to predict in Week 4, I was on vacation, but during these primetime games so far, I'm 7-1 straight up at picking the winner, 5-3 against the spread, and I am 6-2 against the over-under. Now we've got a full month of data, and we're starting to learn a lot about these teams. Usually though, when you come across a gritty divisional game, a lot of the numbers and data you can throw out. That is true in a lot of ways, but here's some of the important information and data that I have for you. First off is the weather report. In Atlanta, there's projected to be barely a cloud in the sky, and it looks like we are going to get that beautiful fall October weather. It's going to be in the mid-60s that evening. Right off the bat, we're looking for strengths and weaknesses on both of these teams. The Bucs are 1-0 on the road, and last year they went into Atlanta and won. They won that game 29-25. Atlanta, though, is also 1-0 on the road, and they beat Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay last year with the score of 16-13. Kirk Cousins and Baker Mayfield have played against each other twice, and Baker is 2-0 against Kirk all time. And if we look at the start of the two quarterbacks in their first 4 games, it's obvious that Baker has beat him at pretty much everything. The only thing that Kirk has been better at is getting sacked less, which was a problem for both Atlanta and Tampa Bay last year. And if I could pick one quarterback for the month of September, it probably would be either Baker or Sam Darnold. Tampa Bay has already come up with some very impressive NFC wins. Detroit and Washington have also been very impressive. They only have one loss, and both of their one losses is to Tampa Bay. Tampa wasn't great at rushing last year, so we kind of expected this. But for Atlanta, that's a big part of their offense. That's a big part of their game planning. Even with Kirk Cousins, they're a run-first football team. It will surprise you then to know that the Falcons are only slightly ahead of the Bucs at rushing. So now it's kind of starting to make sense why the Falcons get about 5.5 points less per game thus far, which could explain why the Bucs are 3-1 and Atlanta is 2-2. When it comes to defensive yards per game, it's been very close. Atlanta has literally given up 5 more total yards of offense on their defense. They are, however, giving up about 2 points more per game. Now let's take a look at the injury report. Right at about Week 5, when the bye week starts and on, the injury reports start to get much longer now. Luckily for Atlanta, though, on defense, they've only got one guy questionable. That is linebacker Troy Anderson, who had a crucial pick in the Atlanta and Saints game last week. On offense, running back Bijan Robinson is listed as questionable, but he did practice Monday. I'm thinking he plays on Thursday. And wide receiver Ray McCloud also questionable. Honestly, though, Tampa is the team with a lot more injuries. There's a lot of injuries on Tampa's offensive line, especially when it comes to offense. They've got a right tackle out as well, and 2 other guys on the offensive line questionable. Mike Evans is also dealing with a knee and a calf injury. This would be a huge blow if Mike Evans were not to play this game. For the record, one of my favorite wide receivers in the game. And then on defense, well, the whole defensive line for Tampa Bay basically is injured. Defensive tackle Vita Vea is one of them.
Game props.
We'll go ahead and start at the rushing props. This is a big division game. Baker Mayfield over 11.5 rushing yards. I do like it. On the ground, he's got 6 first downs, and he's averaging over 16 rushing yards per game with 2 rushing touchdowns. Running back Bijan Robinson is going into his second year, and the over-under for rushing yards for him is 65.5. Not only does he not average that for the year so far, but he did not do this last year in his rookie season either. First time he played Tampa Bay, he did get hurt, but the second time, he ran the ball 10 times and only got 34 yards. This may come back to bite me in my ass, but I'm staying way away from that. I'm going way under that. And then I'd keep away from the Tampa Bay running backs as they kind of like to play the hot hand. I think Bucky Irving might have taken Rachaad White's job as the lead back. Irving has about 90 more rushing yards on 6 less attempts than White. White also has no rushing touchdowns in the first 4 games yet either. Now, for the passing yards over under, Kirk Cousins is at 226.5, while Baker Mayfield is at 240.5. Kirk's gone over this 226.5 in 3 straight games. You might be saying he's due to go under that, but I would like to go over that. He's definitely throwing it more and throwing it better since that week 1 loss against the Steelers. Over to receiving, I want to look at the receptions real quick and just let you know that if Mike Evans does play, it's at 4.5, and I love that one. If he does not play, then I like Godwin's over 6.5. Mike Evans is one tough son of a bitch, though, so I'm not going to bet against that man. Then when we look at the receiving yards over under, if Evans doesn't play, you got to like Godwin over 66.5. And I think you also got to like Rachaad White over 19.5. But that right there, that's some of my favorite plays of this game. So far, most of the bets placed are on Tampa Bay. And there's no doubt about it, the Bucs have been super impressive. All the numbers would tell you that the Bucs are the better team. And for me, honestly, if Atlanta does lose this game, fall to 2-3, the Bucs go to 4-1, and they've already played 4 home games, that's a tough look. I think Atlanta is in more of a dire situation than Tampa is. Give me the Falcons to win, and because it's by 1.5 points, I'm going to take them to cover this as well. I'm looking for this to be a close one all the way through, but Kirk Cousins has the ball last and wins it with a field goal. I'm looking at a 20-17. Either that or Cousins gets that field goal to go up 20-17. Tampa Bay gets a chance, but Atlanta and Jesse Bates stops them from doing so. Yeah, 20-17 or possibly 20-14 is what I'm looking at. And as you probably know if you know America's sports, I'm going with the under, especially in a divisional game like this on primetime. Hey man, I just wanted to thank you for checking this video out and being a part of this community. Over here, we got more than just previews and prop bets and predictions. For example, we've got He's a Beast and we've got a power rankings in the NFL monthly episode dropping very soon. Be sure to check that out and see if you like that shit too, along with more on the horizon. And I also specialize in the NBA. But that's going to do it for this video, guys, and you'll catch me in the next one. Oh, yeah. Well, you know it. It's what you're watching right now.